All right, I'm here today with Representative Scott Peters from California's San Diego District. How are you today?
I'm great. It's good to be with you.
It's nice to meet you. I want to talk about the healthcare and research cuts.
Yeah.
So the Republicans have been able to bill themselves as the party of family values and fiscal responsibility. How do we justify $2.7 billion in NIH cuts?
You can't. And I would say, look, we wrote the playbook as America for how to do scientific research. And we unleash these grants on these scientists, the best scientists in the world. They compete for them, and they solve really hard science problems. And we've led the world in it because we've been willing to invest in it. And President Trump wants to cut that by 40%. That's gonna really set us back competitively, but it's also gonna not save lives and not result in cures and therapies like we're getting used to seeing. We're making such progress on childhood leukemia, on breast cancer. The survival rates are really, really good. We're only got progress ahead of us. These cuts will kill us.
And are there any particular disease processes or demographics that are being particularly hit hard by the cuts?
Think about Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is going to break the budget of this country, but we are seeing amazing brain research started in the public sector, in universities funded by NIH grants, but then picked up by companies who are really taking that information and making it into therapies and cures. If someone could solve that Alzheimer's problem, it's going to be great for our grandparents, for our families, but it's also going to be great for our federal budget, and it's going to let us do more. But if we don't solve it, I mean, it's going to it's going to cause a lot of suffering, and it's going to cause a lot of financial damage too.
And with the $2.7 billion cuts in research, the bills that have been proposed are still going to increase the deficit by at least $4 billion. How does that math work? Where's the money going?
Yeah. So it's what they did was, I think a lot of my constituents say, don't we have to cut spending, Scott, because of the federal deficit? And we probably do. But what they did in that bill was they made tremendous cuts to Medicaid, and even in my district, this is the fifth wealthiest district in California, 21% of their people get health care from Medicaid. 21%,
wow.
Right? That's fifth. One district gets 67% of their health care from Medicaid. That guy voted for the bill. But they made these cuts, draconian cuts, and you'd think, okay, well, that's going to reduce our spending, but they didn't apply that at all to lowering the deficit. What they did was they funded more tax cuts to lower revenues. So we'll still have the same $2 trillion deficit every year, even after all those cuts. So the fiscal responsibility argument is just proven wrong. They've just done the wrong thing. And they've done it on the backs of people who really are going to depend on this healthcare and are really going to suffer.
And within the same bill, so all these healthcare cuts, we rolled back the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act. How can we anticipate that affecting communities who now also can't get healthcare if there's more pollution?
Well, I think what you're going to see, because of what they did in energy, is huge price increases. So, President Trump said he's going to cut your energy bills in half by a year. I mean, no one believes.
You mean he didn't tell the truth?
No one believes what he says anyway, but it's going the wrong way. I think bills are already up by 10 to 18%. And what we're doing, so instead of building more energy, they cut out all the incentives we had for wind and solar, which are the fastest, most deployable energy sources. Forget about climate change, don't even worry about it, but just talk about energy supply, bringing electrons to homes. They cut those out, and we're going to see, gigawatts and gigawatts cancel projects that were in planning. And when you see a demand increase, which we're going to see, and you don't keep up with supply, prices are going to go up for everybody.
Do they have an idea of how much that's going to go up?
It could be 25%. I mean, everybody pays energy bills, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whether you're a small business or a family, this is going to have a huge effect, and it's all ideological. It's all ideological. It just makes sense. Look at what China's doing. China built more wind last year, wind energy in China, than the United States built entire generation. They built 80, we built 60 gigawatts, but they built 227 gigawatts of solar, not because they're climate warriors, because they know that's the cheapest, fastest way to get the energy that they need to provide for their country and their people and their competitiveness. We're going backwards, and it's going to cost us.
And it's strictly ideological because the math and the science doesn't add up at all.
Donald Trump does not like wind because it obstructed the view in his golf course in Scotland. This is what we're dealing with. This is what, and then also, Republicans need to talk back, and so far we haven't seen that, and they know better. I'll just give you one other example. Texas had that problem with the storm Uri, remember, and people tragically died. And that was because natural gas failed. It wasn't available when it should have been, where it needed to be. So what have they done to worry about resilience, to address that? They've reduced now their risk of brownouts and blackouts from 10% to 1% by doing what? Adding oil and gas? No. Adding solar and batteries. Texas understands energy, right? But the rhetoric around here, you wouldn't know it.
Well, and it's also there's a demonization of science that goes on in the right conservative party. What are the Democrats planning to do to push back on all of this?
Well, we got to get the word out. So thanks for what you're doing. This is really important. People need to understand. This shouldn't be ideological. This is just stupid. I don't mind losing an election. I mean, I don't like losing an election. I understand losing an election. We have policy disagreements, but I can't stand stupid. And this is what we're getting. We're getting dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
make any sense
It doesn't
at
make
all.
any sense. And all this stuff before has been bipartisan. And literally, China's building solar and wind, not because they're not tree huggers, right?
Yeah,
They're
it's
competitors.
just practical. It's just
Yeah,
practical
yeah.
and it's smart.
And it's fast and it's cheap. We should be doing the same, and we got to get back on track.
And so you're here in office pushing back on this. What can people like me and the regular American do in the face of all of these cuts?
Hey, listen, when you see your bills go up, as you're going to see, your energy bills, think about this and ask people who run for office, why are we building less energy? And I'm not just talking about congressmen and senators, sure, but like anyone who's running, like the school board, city council, get them trained early and ask people in your community, like, why are we not building energy? Why are we not building energy and transmission as fast as China? Why are we canceling wind projects that are already permitted, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Revolution? So just one more example. You heard of Keystone Pipeline, and how upset people were, and actually a lot of union workers were upset because they felt that President Obama and President Biden got in the way of this pipeline for ideological reasons. We could have that discussion. But now President Trump has canceled a project that's 80% done, offshore wind in the East Coast, called Revolution Wind, sent the workers home, all for ideological reasons. This is their Keystone Pipeline. Why are we tolerating this? Why are we tolerating this? And I think why are we, when people are struggling to pay the bills, where grocery prices are high, cost of housing is high, healthcare is high, now energy prices are going to be high too, and it's all stuff we could have prevented if we just worked together in a bipartisan way to make a smart policy.
All right. Well, thank you for what you're doing. We'll keep pushing back. What do you think is the number one way we can start to push back on these ideological choices that are actually hurting everyone?
Just get the word out, and we gotta, as you know, I think you've been saying, we gotta calm the temperature. Our enemies are not Republicans and Democrats. We need to bring this country together. Here's an issue where everyone can agree on the facts, whether it's science funding. We have to compete. We have to fund it. I think Republicans get that. And energy, like we should be building all the energy we can for the good of the country. I just think people need to get the word out and be patriots and get it done.
I agree.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.